Again, I'm hoping that this saves my Zoom stuff, not as one giant video, but as in different broken parts. We'll see if that actually works. I want to welcome Nancy Sendler back to the Zoom channel, as well as the lovely kitten behind her, who is having a snooze and a rest. And Nancy is going to give her artist talk on her work, A Novel Modest Proposal, which I hope that I got all those words in the right order. Cyber satiric love stories for the armchair activist. Excellent. Nancy, over to you.
Yeah, so we have a good segue from the armchair archivist to the armchair artist activist. And I'm very low tech, no PowerPoint presentation. I apologize for that, just written notes. I haven't done anything like this in a while. Some may have seen me at 2 a.m. my time. I talked about how I first started writing digital literature during the COVID lockdown. Very beginning of the lockdown, I was trying to come up with ways to entertain the neighbors on next door, and coming up with a list of what I thought were funny things to do on your own in isolation, and dealing with the darkness and depression and despair and the uncertainty and the frustration, and deciding, I can make this fun. And I'm going to actually start because yesterday was Sunday would have been Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 94th birthday, and yesterday was his holiday. And he had a very prescient last speech, I think, as many of you know. He was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. And the day before, when he was in Memphis for the sanitation workers strike, and part of his speech, he said, he told the audience that if God had let him choose any era in which to live, he would have chosen the one in which he had landed. Quote, "Now that's a strange statement to make," King went on, "because the world is all messed up. The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land, confusion all around. But I know somehow that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." And that's end quote. Dr. King said that he felt blessed to live in an era when people had finally woken up and were working together for freedom and economic justice. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so very pleased to be here today and part of this group. So thank you for that. I'm not quite sure how to approach this other than to, well, at some point I'll share, let me back up. Okay, so the name A Novel Modest Proposal comes from Jonathan Swift, who in the 18th century wrote perhaps the most famous work in English literature of satire, A Modest Proposal. And his solution for solving poverty in Ireland was very radical. Feed the babies to the rich. And they could sell, just something just so completely outrageous. And my 21st century update of that modest proposal is the inclusion of the word novel, which is actually an anagram for lovin'. Is sort of a reverse. It's radical love. It's like the make love, not war idea. And I think that having light, having joy, having humor in times of such existential crises that we face is radical, is revolutionary, and is sublimely subversive, and something that I aspire to find beauty when it seems like it's again just in your despairing situation, and to be able to dance in the darkness. And music for me is something that does that. Music is transformational, and let me see, reading my notes quickly. So my magnum opus encompasses a novel modest proposal, encompasses a repertoire of many musicals that I've created, which are basically just text with hyperlinks. And of course, you can link to anything on that. And they're mostly YouTube videos of music and dance. And they're made to be watched on your own in lockdown, in your own time, at your own pace. And but I think, you know, most of them are the length of about a 1.5 to 2 hour movie. You could, you know, show them on Zoom and we could all have our individual, you know, bag of popcorn and watch it that way. Let me see, where am I on this? So these were born on Nextdoor, and originally Dandelions it's based on a true story. I was outside, George Floyd had, you know, been murdered. And I noticed that all the dandelions in my yard had just completely disappeared, and I didn't know why. So I went on to Nextdoor for Port Townsend, Washington, which is a community, a very small, isolated, bubble-ish type community of only about 8,500 people. And I wanted to know, where did all my dandelions go? And they came up with some theories that eventually I reworked into a very creative list of theories. And then I took that list and added in music and music videos. And of about the 30 music videos that compose the musical portion of Dandelions, I knew about a third of the songs ahead of time and had not seen any of the videos. And a lot of this is a process of hundreds and hundreds of hours going through videos. It's not necessarily knowing, I want to use, I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. It's which version of that song. Is it the official music video? Is it a live version? Is it the official version? Is it a fan-made video or a cover video? And it's going through all these and finding the best video for that link. And I'll show you an example in a minute. Let's see. So Dandelions starts with death. It's dedicated to Elijah McClain, who was murdered on August 28th, 2019. And it's actually a very interesting date. It's in 1955, Emmett Till was lynched on August 28th. And the 1963 March on Washington was on August 28th. And so I published the first formally complete version of The Case of the Disappearing Dandelions, a musical mystery on LinkedIn and Nextdoor, because those were what was free and available to me. I had to use all the free tools. I couldn't pay for anything, and not associated with any university or organization that could provide web space or hosting services. And so I just threw them up there and changed them as I need be. I mean, some of the problems I did encounter were, you know, broken links, videos disappearing, things like that. And but one of the interesting things about Elijah is that I felt sort of this deep connection the more I learned about him. He was a self-taught musician, violinist and guitar player, and he would go into the animal shelters and he'd play for the cats and dogs and the staff. And one of the articles that I linked to in The Case of the Disappearing Dandelions is about on the anniversary, I think it was the first anniversary, there was a vigil in Aurora, Colorado, where he was killed. And a violinist from the Colorado Symphony Orchestra stood up, and there was growing tension between the police and the activists protesting for the Black Lives Matter movement. But when the musicians, and there were all probably about 100 of them, got together and started playing music, everybody just sort of calmed down. And again, it goes back to this power of music to be transformational and change what could have been a very violent, devastating situation into something beautiful. And the case of the disappearing dandelions, a little bit more about its construction. It's got all these onion layers. In terms thematically, it delves into my personal life. It's very much a love story. And but there's these also, so it's the personal and the political. The first half of Dandelions delves more into the love story aspect, and the second half more in the political aspect. And by the time you get to the end of watching all the music videos, I don't think at this point it's giving too much away. There's a phone number that's at the very bottom. And one of the things that I think makes the case of disappearing dandelions revolutionary is that in terms of interactive, it's, again, going back to what I call it's retroactively avant-garde. You click on the phone link, and originally, and this is gone because the campaign is no longer there was the change.org campaign for, you could put in your phone number and then have a website will automatically call the governor of Colorado, the attorney general for the state of Colorado, the mayor for Aurora, and then the district attorney. And depending on the time of day you called, you'd actually have to talk to somebody and say, I would like to have, a thorough investigation and the prosecution of the people responsible for the death of Elijah McClain, and either talk to somebody or leave a message. And I think that's what, when I decided to do that, that's when it became really exciting, because it turned what could just be a passive experience of watching a musical on the screen into this very interactive activist. You're standing up for somebody, you're standing up for a human being, and the Black Lives Matter movement, and anti-racism, anti-oppression work. So that's a big spoiler, but I thought I'd reveal that so you get an idea of how it fits in the theme of the social good for the conference. So I think what I'll do now is I'll put it up. We'll try to share the screen, and I'll show you the story, and you can read through and read the top 10 theories. I mean, it's structured like a police report. And in fact, the names of the crime scene responders are all real names. That was a hard decision to make, to include them. And I'm going to just show you how the relationship, the juxtaposition between the content of the link and the text there's this interplay, there's this conversation between that, and that's how some of the meaning is built. And unlike most pieces that are created these days, this is not a choose your own adventure story. It is meant to be read in order, watched in order, as if you were reading chapters in a book or different stanzas of a poem. And the order is critically important. Although in this one case, I'm going to show you how there's a backbone of dandelion videos that I discovered that, and I'll show you the first one. So I just click on share screen and desktop, share sound?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my YouTube. Let's see if I can. It's my YouTube channel. Oh, shoot. Let me get to, how do I move this? So, oh, there it is. So here is my LinkedIn page. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so and I just threw up, there's the HTML version of the case, the disappearing dandelions, and then there's the PDF, and then other works of mine like the pandemic survival guide. But I'll just go to the HTML version, and they're reading the instructions, which, and again, that's one of the challenges. And the top 10 theories. So the second one is the one I'll play because it's the first dandelions video. And it's a Leo intends to work golden dandelions into a postmodern collage of his new Vitruvian human. And then I hope this video plays okay, but you can see the relationship to the content of the video and the lyrics and the images to the theory. So hopefully this will all work.
She came to me in robes of white in the corner of my room, a specter of the night, silhouetted by the moon. We're floating fast over traffic lights, bearing down on blackened sky, and colors burst as I close my eyes. Ooh, and she said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Follow me into the door. She said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting. A thousand pictures in my mind, in a painting of the past. I'm brushing over lines, and I paint them all again. We're floating fast over traffic lights, bearing down on blackened sky, and colors burst as I close my eyes. Ooh, and she said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Follow me into the door. And she said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting. Cause I've been waiting. We're bright in the candlelight, and I will cradle all his memories till the end. And she said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Follow me into the dark. Ooh. And she said, lay me down in golden dandelions, 'cause I've been waiting. Yeah, I've been waiting. 'Cause I've been waiting.
Hi, so I'm back. So I thought I'd give you an option and get your feedback if you wanted to watch another video, or if you wanted to just discuss it and ask me some questions, or perhaps Professor Kolb wants to weigh in. Professor Kolb was my professor at Bates, and he's read Dandelions. So do you have a vote, another video?
I'd really like to discuss what you've got here, because I was so fascinated by the imagery and the combinations, like the goldfish and the baseball, and also wanted to bring in, there's been a discussion on Zoom, on Discord about this as well. So
Well, one of the most remarkable things about this entire writing process has been discovering, well, just coincidences, actually, to find a video that, I mean, keeping in mind, the text is almost exactly the way it was written before any of the videos were discovered. And the fact that I found a Dandelions video that is very much like a postmodern collage. And the more you know about the story of Elijah McClain and the presence of death and the looking at a life, and how all the various themes in the video play out over the course of the story. Now it's very abstract, but the themes are still there, and the theme of we live in a society where too often flowers, the metaphor for anyone that's been felt oppressed or undervalued or not having a voice in society, comes through. The dandelions are, at an environmental level and in a social justice level as well. How do we protect them? And what do other people see in the video?
I personally love dandelions as a metaphor for and a symbol for lots of things. I use it a lot for digital fiction and for electronic literature, because so much of what we do, it does feel like we've sort of picked up this dandelion head and have blown the seeds out into the wind. And so the internet is like seeded with all of these things, and whether they take root or not, we don't know. And lots of times people see, for so long, the aesthetics of the dandelion, people treat dandelions as weeds. But they're not. They're really valuable flowers. They're valuable for bees. They're edible. They're really useful for seeding meadows and attracting more birds and bees and all of that, and we can eat them and all these sorts of things. So it's just but they're so, they're the humble dandelion, right? They're not a beautiful flower. They're not, you don't put them in bouquets and things like that. So it's there's just so many uses of that. And then I think the notion of the dandelion as the weed, but that is actually very fundamental and useful and necessary, is really related to activism, because activists are treated like weeds. Here in the UK, the Tories are passing law after law making it illegal to protest. We saw people arrested for holding up blank signs when the Queen died. Blank signs, literally. And they're starting to make it a fireable offense to go on strike, as we are in the midst of industry-wide strikes in several different crucial industries. And it's the billionaires making these laws, obviously. And it's very let them eat cake at the moment. And so yeah, it speaks to me a lot in terms of how you've used it and how we talk about it and what we use it for.
Yeah, and I really like the chat that's going on in the Discord as well. On top of that, with the idea of the dandelions and that metaphor, and if I may, Michael wrote, as someone who is from a place where police brutality is common and a prone target to it, knowing that social good is coming from this means a lot. And he also asks, do people think here that the vintage cyber style better portrays the art of music? So it's interesting to see how you're portraying the art of music. And Michael, feel free, you don't have to, but feel free to jump in here. It's okay, we're all friendly, we don't bite.
I have a question.
Go for it, David.
Okay. The work, I've watched the whole work, and it demands a lot of concentration. It's not a sloganeering thing. You really get into it. And I think it's brilliant the way she takes these found bits of music and uses them for that. But someone's at my door. How do we do activism when people won't listen long enough?
Yeah, it's
point.
very different. I mean, like the women that threw the fake ketchup at the very well protected Van Gogh sunflowers. I mean, that's an instantaneous, that can be a 20-second clip on social media to ask people to, and this is one of the greatest challenges that my work faces, to ask people to take the time to sit and watch something that's actually the length of Jurassic Park or an X-Men movie, but takes a little bit, challenges you a little bit more intellectually and emotionally. And I mean, and psychologically and philosophically, because some of the videos are actually a commentary on cyberspace, or what I call cyber la la land sometimes, because of the chaos. How do you have communicate effectively and break through that chaos and be heard and be seen? That is a challenge. And I don't necessarily have an answer other than, well, I will respectfully disagree with Lyle that I think dandelions are beautiful. And they are used in bouquets, they're used in crowns and necklaces, and people make kimchi out of them. They have a medicinal quality and a mystical quality too. Dandelions often represent time, and the sense of clocks, and time is also a feature in the musical. And I'm trying to think, I would love to, I'm just gonna pick, even though I'm breaking my own rules about people should watch it all in order, I want to show you,
Okay,
actually, I'd love for you guys to pick out one link that you want to see.
Nancy, we do have about 3 minutes left. If I may get
no.
Michael, he's got his. If
Sure.
it's okay to just break to Michael, if that's all right. Welcome,
Please.
Michael. So good to see you. We're not hearing your voice. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay, well, type in what you want and we'll be there. But in the last, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Nancy, please, we do have those links to your video. Ah,
Okay.
Pedro's here as well. Oh, there he's here.
Hi guys.
How's it going? Are we heard right now?
Yes.
You are.
No, you're
Perfect. So my point, I'm from Minnesota. We're known for like police brutality with like Philando Castile or like George Floyd, of course. And just realizing that like there's a social good and a social impact through this for like something like that, you know, it's seen as like, I don't know, I think it's amazing that it's really like impactful to something that like is seen in the real world. Like there's some things that like literature is an art, like music is an art, but sometimes it might not be like as impactful, like some may say, to like the real world. But like that's something that we can really see throughout, you know, the whole country. And just a difference being made like that is amazing to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah, and
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you
we're
so much
about out
for,
of time.
we are about right out of time, but thank you so much, Nancy. This was amazing work and I can't wait to explore it further. We do
Well,
have
I'd
the
love to
links.
have you all over for like a Zoom movie viewing at some point.
Well, and actually, if I may make an announcement, the second Tuesday in March, we will have Nancy showing this at the Second Tuesday Salon. If you guys are not in the Second Tuesday Salon, put your email in the chat and I'll put you up into it. So thank you. We are going to see more from Nancy in March at the very least on this.
Thank you.
Grand.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was fantastic. And thank you for sharing the joy that is Barnes Courtney. I am low-key obsessed with Barnes Courtney. Much to my husband's dismay. He has not been able to hear anything but Barnes Courtney for like 6 months. So sorry to him, but it makes my ears Great. Okay, I see that we've got people rolling in, perhaps very excitedly for the create-a-thon. I'm gonna
Create-a-thon.
stop